UN inspectors have started a three-day mission to examine Iran's atomic activities. Tehran says it's certain the talks, the first in more than 3 years, will prove its program's purpose is purely peaceful. But the IAEA visit comes at a time when tensions between Iran and the West are approaching crisis level. On Monday, EU nations adopted an unprecedented set of sanctions against the Islamic Republic, which include a complete embargo on oil supplies from Iran. That's meant to come into effect in July, but Iran is considering an immediate halt of oil sales to Europe in retaliation. But let's discuss this latest development around the Iranian crisis with Seyed Mohammad Marandi, who's a professor at the University of Tehran and now joins us live from Beirut. Thanks for being with us. How significant could the outcome of this IAEA mission be, and to what extent it might influence the situation surrounding Iran's nuclear program?
The Iranians basically are trying to show again to the international community that the nuclear program in Iran is peaceful. And of course, when I say the international community, I mean the non-Western world, because usually the West considers itself to be the international community on its own. The reality, though, is that the IAEA currently has full-time monitors in Iran, and this is something that we rarely hear in the Western media. And we have cameras in all of Iran's installations. So therefore, there's absolutely no evidence whatsoever that Iran's nuclear program is anything but peaceful. And the IAEA has no evidence on this. The Iranians are not very optimistic about the IAEA because it is heavily influenced by Western countries. It's not a democratic body. Most of the members on the board are European and North American. They don't represent the international community at all. And the head of the IAEA he owes his job to the United States if you look at the WikiLeaks documents. But again, the Iranians are attempting to resolve the issue, despite the fact that in the past, when Iranians had attempted to put the issue up front to negotiate and resolve, the Americans blocked it, such as the Tehran declaration between Brazil, Iran, and Turkey, and more recently, the Russian step-by-step proposal that the West hasn't been supporting.
Why do you think the EU adopted this embargo on Iranian oil without waiting to see what this latest mission actually finds?
Well, the United States and the Europeans are basically engaging in acts of war against the Iranian people, as Ron Paul, the U.S. presidential candidate, said himself. I think most Iranians believe that the United States and the Europeans are losing ground in the Middle East and throughout the world. And this is an attempt to seriously hurt Iran at this juncture. The United States, the economy of Western European and North American countries, in comparison to their rivals, is on the decline. And the only thing that they have going for them, one is a very powerful military, which the United States has, and control of almost all the oil wealth. In other words, Arab regimes, dictatorships in the region are all aligned to the United States, and independent countries, except for Russia, really don't have all that many choices for oil. So China, for example, depends on oil from countries that are aligned to the United States. And Iran, since it's an independent country, if the United States was able to bring about a change in the Islamic Republic and overthrow the political order there, obviously that would put China in a very difficult position. So the Iranians believe that the real issue is not the nuclear program. It is Iran's independence and sovereignty.
Iran has postponed, I should say, for now, a bill that would cut all oil supplies to Europe within days. It's seen as a reaction to the embargo. The idea is there. Do you think they'll actually go ahead with it?
Well, at this stage, it's not clear, but many Iranians are very angry towards Europeans and Americans. And this is an extraordinary, it's very extraordinary how Europeans and Americans misread Iranian society. If they wanted to create anger among Iranians towards themselves, they couldn't have done a better job. In general, the Iranians do wish to move away from Europe and the United States, and they believe that it's really of no use talking to these countries anymore. So if the Europeans want to punish Iranians, then Iranians say, well, let's punish them first. But I don't know where the Iranian parliament is going to take the issue.
Just briefly, now that about Tehran's promise earlier to block the Strait of Hormuz, is that still a prospect? I mean, is it on the table? And also, do you think Iran will come back to the negotiating table?
Well, Iran has always been at the negotiating table. It has talked with the Russians, their new proposal. They've tried to resolve a previous issue on with regards to the production of enriched uranium at 20% with the Brazilians. A very good website on the Iranian nuclear issue is raceforiran.com that people can look at, and it's a very well documented tale, the whole issue. But in general, the mood in Iran is that it is the West that is promoting tension. After all, the Iranians have not threatened to block the Strait of Hormuz on their own or just in some vacuum. Western countries have threatened Iran constantly with war. You have military drones flying over Iranian airspace. You have Western intelligence organizations murdering Iranian scientists and scholars, such as one of my own colleagues at the University of Tehran. And you have Western organizations funding terrorist organizations in their capitals against Iranians. So it is basically Western countries that are promoting tension. The Iranians say that if you block us and try to make ordinary Iranians suffer through sanctions, then if the Iranian nation is being strangled, the Iranians will retaliate. Otherwise, Iran wants peace and stability in the Persian Gulf region.
All right, thank you for your thoughts, Professor Seyed Mohammad Marandi from the University of Tehran, on the line from Beirut.